Right, it's Hatfield 2035. Episode 7. A tall, thin man wearing a plain grey suit and tie sat at a desk in one corner of the reception hall. Broken Tooth, Razor and Tag entered the building. Witch Hazel, Bumper, Fingers and Gadget waited outside. The streets were practically empty, apart from a few teenage mothers pushing prams and pushchairs on their way to the nursery, and a group of nurses dressed in white trousers and blouses on their way to work. "Can I help you?" asked the 30-year-old office clerk sitting at the reception desk. "We're looking for work," replied Broken Tooth. The tall, thin man looked puzzled. "How old are you?" he asked. The Stig's leader smiled. 45, actually. The employment officer frowned. "You're a bit late, really, aren't you?" He smiled. "Only 5 more years until D-Day for you." "What do you mean D-Day?" asked Broken Tooth. "Death Day, of course," smiled the young clerk. "You know the rules. At the age of 50, you get a free visit to the hospital euthanasia ward." Razor sat down in a plastic chair opposite the employment officer. "I'm 19, and my young friend here," he pointed to Tag, "is almost 16. The office clerk pointed to the wall opposite the desk. "Go and see what you can find," he suggested. The young man bit his bottom lip. "I hope you have your identification badges with you," frowned the clerk. "You can't get a job without them." Razor stood up and patted his chest in a display of fake surprise. "I must have lost it," he sighed. "I was wearing it this morning." Broken Tooth scratched his bearded chin. "I wonder if you can tell us where the press gang takes their conscripts," he asked politely. "2 of our friends have vanished, and I think they might have been mistaken for a couple of the ghost town scavengers," explained the leader of the Stigs. "One of them is only 7 years old." The employment clerk picked up a list from his desk. "Probably the juvenile rehabilitation unit. It's on the 6th floor." "What happens on the other levels of the building?" asked Razor. "What do you think?" replied the young man in the grey business suit. "There is no unemployment in Gravetown." "Well," he paused, "if you have been out of work for more than 1 week." "What do you mean?" asked the Stig's bodyguard. "You know the rules. Voluntary self-termination is on the first 2 floors. They are the euthanasia units. For those poor rats who have enough dignity to finish the job themselves." "And the others?" frowned Tag. "Compulsory execution," smiled the tall thin man. "Really is quite humane when you think about it," he sighed. "The unwashed get to have a free shower." They are on floors 3 and 4. Witch Hazel opened the main entrance door of the office building. Broken Tooth was standing near the wall of the reception, gazing at a list of jobs on the computer screen. Factory workers, 3. Shelf stackers, 4. Supermarket cashiers, 1. Doctors, 12. Nurses, 32. Dustbin men, 5. Litter pickers, 1. Hospital porters, 3. There were no more jobs on offer. Witch Hazel tapped Broken Tooth on the shoulder. "What about my son?" she whispered into his ear. "6th floor, juvenile rehabilitation unit," answered the rotting-toothed leader of the Stigs. "You'd better get Gadget and Bumper if we're going to find our way past the security guards." Bumper walked over to his old friend. He's just entered the building with Gadget. "We were just thinking about you," smiled Witch Hazel. Bumper folded his arms. "I've sent Fingers on a scouting mission. I thought it might be safer to make himself scarce around here, just in case anybody recognised him." Chapter 7. It took Gadget 5 minutes to disable the first level security code. He used to work as a computer programmer and hacker before the internet was closed down in 2015. Witch Hazel sat at the reception desk asking the employment clerk about how to find a job. How to find a job and fill in a job application to keep him distracted. Just long enough for the other Stigs to get through the door. "Do you have ladies?" asked Witch Hazel, breathing a sigh of relief. The clerk looked puzzled. "A toilet," explained the Stig's housekeeper. "Just down the left-hand corridor and to the right," explained the employment officer, pointing a finger. The young woman soon found the lavatory. Just opposite an elevator. The other Stigs managed to creep past the security guards without too much trouble. Some of them were asleep in their chairs at the entrances of the second and third floor. Occasional moaning or scream echoed from the rooms along the corridor. The six reached the fifth floor of the converted office block, and they were exhausted. Sign on the wall read Conversion and Integration Therapy. Witch Hazel stood in the elevator. She pressed the number 6, and the doors closed. The lift began rising to the tune of Reach for the Stars by some forgotten 20th century pop group. Crap, she whispered under her breath. The other six peered through the bars of a locked room. Gadget had managed to disable the security lock at the entrance of the corridor. 3 teenage boys dressed in grey boiler suits sat in wooden chairs around a flat-screen digital television. They looked very happy watching the late afternoon soap opera, the only one permitted by the new government of God on the Gravetown channel. The name of the soap opera was Workers. A young man wearing grey polyester trousers and a fluorescent green cotton fleece jacket tapped a stranger wearing grey trousers and a beige jacket on the shoulder. The short-haired man turned around. Half his teeth were missing. You'd better join the queue now if you want any food. The shelves are almost empty, sighed the young shop assistant on the digital TV screen. Razor pointed to the television and put his hands to his mouth. Hey look lads, I'm famous! He laughed. They're watching the fucking security cameras. Broken Tooth grinned. Fuck it, you're right. I didn't even recognise myself. Suddenly the soap opera stopped and the screen froze. The camera zoomed in on a close-up of the face of Fingers hiding behind the six bodyguards. Have you seen this teenage boy? Asked the television announcer. He is wanted by the security police for the crime of treason, stealing food from his brother's stomachs. A reward of 2 food vouchers will be awarded to anyone who can help us apprehend this dangerous young sewer rat. The soap opera Workers reappeared on the television monitor. A long line of people dressed in beige boiler suits and green fluorescent waistcoats sat on both sides of the conveyor belt, sticking paper labels onto cans of baked beans. Broken Tooth leaned against the wall. Let's go and find Tinker, he suggested. One more floor, he sighed. Witch Hazel was waiting for them at the top of the stairs. Should have taken the elevator, laughed the young woman. My mother used to work here as a cleaner when I was a baby. I used to come here after school and help her do the scrubbing 25 years ago. She was 35 years old. Mind you, it was owned by T-Mobile at the time. Razor pointed to a sign above a locked ironclad door at the end of the corridor. Juvenile Rehabilitation Unit. He turned towards the other six. Are you ready? He asked. Gadget stared at the security lock and typed in a few numbers. Bleep went the lock. This shouldn't take very long. 1 down, 4 to go, laughed the computer hacker. How about I just pull the fucking thing out of the wall with my crowbar? Asked Bumper half an hour later. It would attract too much attention, suggested Broken Tooth. Only 2 more numbers to go, Gadget reassured them. The six walked down the corridor. It was dark outside and the moonbeams glistened on the window panes of the office building. They glanced into every room, now converted into isolation wards. A picture of the Sahara Desert flashed onto the walls of a barren room, empty but for 1 occupant. A plastic chair and table and no bed. An empty plastic cup sat on the table and water dripped from a tap in one corner of the rehabilitation cell. Drink me, came a voice from the loudspeaker on the wall. The heating of the room was turned to full volume. It was very hot and brightly lit by a fluorescent tube. A picture of starving African children flashed onto the walls of the room, followed by more pictures of the desert and malnourished skeletal babies. Witch Hazel gasped. There he is! That's my Tinker in there, she insisted, staring at the boy dressed in a beige boiler suit inside the room. It took Gadget half an hour to open the cell door, with a little help from Bumper's crowbar. A warning siren blasted, and the corridor illuminated in red light. Red alert! Red alert! Shouted the loudspeakers on the 6th floor. Delinquent has escaped! Delinquent has escaped! Warned the siren. Tinker looked blankly towards his mother and the six. Who are you? Asked the boy, looking puzzled. Would you like a cup of water? He asked. Witch Hazel clasped her hands to her mouth and broke down in tears. Razor knelt down in front of the boy. Do you remember me? He asked. The 7-year-old smiled. I'm very thirsty. I need another cup of water. His head was shaved. The images of the desert and famine victims still flashed on the converted office walls. "You'd better come with us," suggested Broken Tooth, sounded somewhat urgent. 2 security guards approached the rehabilitation room from both sides of the corridor. Witch Hazel put her right arm around her son. The boy looked up at her. "I'm always happy to help," whispered Tinker. "Who are you?" he asked. Razor, Bumper, Broken Tooth, Gadget and Tag kicked the shit out of the security guard. Broken Tooth pulled the bushes away from the hole in the electrified fence. "Get him safe. Back to the dump," suggested the leader of the Six. "The scavengers will make sure you get home in one piece." "But he still doesn't remember me," wept Witch Hazel, hugging her son. "I'm very happy to help," smiled the boy. Tinker looked dazed and confused. "I'm always happy," he reassured her. "Work is food. Food is life. Life is work. Work is food. Food is life. Life is work," sang the young 7-year-old. "That's my favourite jingle," he smiled. "I'm always happy to help." Razor patted the young lad on the head. "He'll be just fine, as soon as he is disintoxicated from the town's water." "I knew it was drugged as soon as I saw the people, blank-faced zombies," he muttered to himself quite often. "Can't I come to the city with you?" asked Witch Hazel. Broken Tooth frowned. "Take care of his son. Take him home to the dump and get wizards to brew up some elderberry wine. You might find some wild bushes on your way. Give Tinker a few days to rehabilitate, and I'm sure he'll be back to his normal irritating self by the end of the week." Tag tapped Gadget on the back. "Where the fuck is Fingers?" he asked. "I sent him on a scouting mission a few hours ago," frowned Bumper. "I'd forgotten all about him." "I hope you find Core," smiled Witch Hazel, climbing through the hole in the fence. "Good luck." Broken Tooth smiled, piling the branches of the bush back in front of the hole, being very careful not to be electrocuted. "He was on that workers' show," frowned Tag. "The security police have probably captured him by now."